team's sort of plat area and going up the sponge or going up the ramp or whatever, and taking the sniper area, taking the grates, and just sort of getting ahead of the tower, because the checkpoints are actually relatively hard to push, because like they're sort of on one side of the map and there's only one way in. So it's really effective to be able to sort of get ahead of that, right? And it's really easy to do. So anyway, looks like we're rolling out here with, as we were talking about before, the double splatter shot plus the Lunar Comp for Quantum with the Charger in the back, versus the Tri-Slosher, the double armor actually comp with Vanilla Blaster and Splatter Shot to back it up. Double armor, double splashdown for Ethereal.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting. Quantum went 3 down. It's just big GP up at the start. You're just gonna actually go for the flank while it looks like the enemy team's just gonna be pushing the tower. You see behind them, yeah, okay, so that didn't quite work out the way that they wanted it to. No, Ethereal's got like a really interesting start right now. I don't think they kind of bargained for it to be this well. I don't think they realized it was going to be this good, but no, they have the opportunity to push there. They got it down to 79 points. That's like literally nothing, but they've got the momentum now. And as we saw, it was Quantum's interesting openings. They kind of overthink the openings. It's exactly as you've been saying. And because of that, they're not in the best situation right now. It's just Luna Blaster up. A sole Luna Blaster can't really do much against an entire team. So we're going to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, you can kind of see in the previous push there wasn't really much of a setup there for Ethereal, but this time there is. There's a lot of turf on the map, but actually I say that, but Kyle comes in with a clutch kill on the tower, does stop it, and now it's him versus Frog in the mid, the classic Splattershot matchup. We've got Ross getting posted up, so now he's actually in a bit more of a comfort zone. Stingray does get the assist, doesn't actually get the kill, but it looks as though Ethereal once again is in the driver's seat. They've got the full whack this time, and Ben's moving up with the blaster.
Oh, what a shot though, Kago. That was a very, very important direct, being able to take out that blaster who was pushing up, and that's gonna make it a little bit easier for Quantum to be able to actually defend this push, although it looks like Ethereal's just so strong right now that they're having trouble dealing with this. The armor's up, the tower's still moving, they're in a really good position to actually get the knockout right now, if it's not going to be, like a 20-point push. Wow, what a burst bomb, what?
That was some Kobe Bryant action right there. And you can, well, it looks as though the push is basic. Yeah, it's over. There's no way the blaster's getting in there. But you could, I say that, but the blaster might actually be wanting to get the push started again. Oh, and the direct on the disrupted charger. It's a bit of a sad day for the charger right there. But you could really see, like, even though that direct was like some serious clutch play right there, it didn't matter because Ethereal still had 3 people already like up and ready to cover. Like what I was talking about before about the trades and how getting those trades is so important. The reason for that is because you can have
deleted.
Yeah, but like you have those situations right where the blaster does go down to a clutch direct from the Luna, but because your team is in position to trade, the Luna's clutch play just becomes a 1-for-1 that ends up being even. Except it's not even, because even though you've gone 1-for-1, what happens is you've already got like 3 people there, so you lose 1 person, you still got 2 people there. It's like you still got a presence and you're still able to push. And now we see exactly that happening right here.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, Ethereal's doing such a good job just exploiting Quantum. I think I can't tell if they just like know how Quantum plays or if they're just doing a really good job at adapting to just the way that they're playing in this game right now. But Ethereal is doing just such a good job just exploiting the weaknesses of Quantum, and because of that, they were actually able to get almost a knockout. Like 5 points on Sturgeon Shipyard is basically a knockout, to be honest. It's going to be really, really difficult for Quantum to come back with, especially with their team comp that they have. Having the 3 short-range weapons plus a charger on tower control is not the most ideal thing you could have. The charger can't really get a whole lot done once you push the tower past the second checkpoint. So it's going to be interesting how they deal with this, although I think Ethereal probably has this one in the bag, as there's only about a minute left.
Yeah, you can gotta see the story of this game right there. They had to use a splashdown just to initiate. That's not what you want. If you have to use a blind splashdown to just sort of get some ground that you can work with, and you can even see on the overhead especially, like, you've got Ethereal just waiting for Quantum to come to them, and they're just taking full advantage of it. This game, I think, is pretty much over. It would take some serious clutch play from Quantum right now to to make anything happen.
So yeah, it's pretty much as we've seen so far. Quantum, they have trouble if they can't get that momentum rolling. It's completely about that. We do have Kagura going in with the ball. They're gonna do what they can, but it's kind of hard when the enemy team just calls you out and they're all starting to shoot at you and you get splashdowns on you. No, Ethereal is doing such a good job with this defense. There's only the last player left. He's gonna go down. They're gonna grab on that tower. There's gonna be no overtime stream for Quantum, and Ethereal's gonna take a very quick and clean game 1.
Yeah, it's again, I think the slow opening from Quantum, you could kind of see like they were sort of kind of getting things started. They were getting Ethereal out of their base pretty much every time, but the problem was that then they were playing from their own base. Like, they weren't playing from mid. They were expending all their resources just to get back into mid again and get even a sniff at the tower. They were pushing into like their own court with specials, and then they had to take mid, like one player down with no specials left. It's like, how do you even do that? And yeah, Ethereal, though, that was a bit of a clinic from them, I gotta say. They took the initial momentum and they just ran with it. There was never really a point where it felt as though Quantum was ever not going to win that game. Like, there was basically, like, it was a whitewash. So we'll have to see if Quantum can get their act together in this game, because if they don't figure something out, this could be a very quick winners finals.
Absolutely. Like, the thing with Ethereal right now is that they adapted so quick to how Quantum plays that it's scary. That was like in the first minute of game 1. They said, oh, you're going to try this. Okay, we can just do this to stop it. And it looks like Quantum doesn't have an answer to that. They don't have a switch up. I mean, maybe in game 2 they will. Maybe it was the composition that was throwing them off, but I don't think it was, because that seemed to be more or less their vanilla composition. If anything, that 2 splatter shot Luna and Charger composition will work a bit better on Inkblot Art Academy, where we're going right now on Rainmaker. The thing about that is that Rainmaker and Inkblot Art Academy, you need the ability to harass the opponent's team's platform. And actually, wow, they dropped the Charger, they picked up a range blaster and a 96 gal. So this is going to be a totally different game. Pretty much everything. Vanilla
blaster.
Oh, it's a vanilla blaster. You're right. Wow. Okay.
Yep,
So they got the splashdown there.
Yeah.
That's
so
3 splashdowns and an ink armor. They are going the safety route. They do not want to die.
Yeah, and I think it's actually a good adaptation right now, because the last game I think was partly a team comp loss, because when you have that sort of short range stuff, and actually Ethereal, they're already making a push out of this. Ben's moved up into the courtyard. Watson's following close behind with the Rainmaker. It's to be okay. Quantum does clean up, so that's what we needed to see, is a quick, decisive end to that push. But in the last game, Quantum was running, you know, the Luna plus the double splatter shot. Now that comp, and the Charger actually, that comp against double armor, double splashdown, I mean, that's not a great matchup. You've got the double splashdown is going to basically make every short range weapon's life miserable. The double armor is going to make the Charger's life miserable, not to mention the Luna blaster as well. And they've made a good switch up here. They've switched over to the armor comp plus the blaster and double splatter, and actually splatter shot and 10 attack, in fact. And now you can see it's actually paying off for them. Aside from the fact that Ben gets a sneaky shot kill on the Rainmaker, it seems as though Quantum's in control of this game right now.
Yeah, I think the key player on the side of Quantum right now is going to be the Blaster, who I actually am not sure who's playing that. I'm sure I can figure that out very quickly. They do go 4 down, but that Blaster is going to be a huge deal with the double armor. The thing about the Blaster is that, you know, it shoots very slowly. It's going to take out the armor, and like the thing about the Blaster is that normally it's going to take like minimum 2 shots to kill. With the armor up, it's going to take minimum 3, but you still have that opportunity for the direct, so you can still direct them and take them out in 2 shots anyway. Which means the engagement with the Blaster is probably going to be more or less the same whether you have armor or not, whereas all the other weapons are going to be a little bit different because you have that armor. So I think the key player is the Blaster right now. It's completely up to them to essentially carry this game.
Yeah, and we can see Ethereal does have an advantage here in numbers, but and specials for that matter, but some clutch plays there from Ross with the 96 gal does put an end to that push. The 96 gal actually is a really interesting weapon for this. I gotta say,
96 gal is like the hidden secret weapon that everyone should start playing. It's so good.
Yeah, it's still like a super fast armor weapon. Like it's a long range sort of anchor, but it can actually paint because it's got the what am I saying? Sprinkler. But actually, this could be a really awkward situation here for Ethereal. Sorry, for Quantum, because Ethereal's got they got Grey up onto the platform. fake JP managed to come in with the clutch save right there.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
they have the lead, and it's interesting because like they were able to snatch a lead. It's 38 points. It's not the best lead, although when there's 2 minutes left in the game on Rainmaker Inc. Art Academy, that's kind of doable. Like 38 points is a good enough lead to hold with their comp. Like they got the 96, they got 3 splashdowns as well as a blaster. Unfortunately, they do drop 3 players, so Ethereal's in the driver's seat right now. They're gonna try and make this happen. I think they just need to run it. They need to run it and get that lead so that Ethereal, Quantum cannot just kind of turtle them out. That's exactly what they need to do. They need to get that pop. They just need to run it in. Even if they die, all they need is the lead right now.
Oh, these disruptors,
massive. That's 3 down again. That's okay. No, Ross is going to find another pick, but no, they're going to get it. And there it is. That's the lead. That's exactly what Ethereal needed. Not only to win the game, obviously, but it's going to make it so much more difficult for Quantum to come back from this now.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time on the clock, though, so Quantum can definitely make another play. So what I want to point out with that is it was so... again, they had to expend resources just to get up into the plat, and it was only because of the clutch Rainmaker shot on the 96 scale that they were able to to keep the push going. Whereas normally what you want is you want to have like a splashdown or something on the plat to clear the way ahead, especially when you got disruptors raining in from toxic mists raining in from the blaster.
So yeah, it's pretty much what I said before. Like Quantum has such a good defensive turtle team that when they're not in the lead, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them. Especially in a situation like this where there's less than a minute left in the game. They've got to do a lot of work to be able to get it down to 24 points with their team comp. It's kind of one of those situations where they need time. It's not really a team comp where you can just like run in and just kill everybody. It seems like one of those, it seems the way that they're playing it at least is one of those things where you need to push in, let them reset, win another team fight. When they're 4 down, that's when you go for it. But they're doing a good job actually getting some paint up. No, the Rainmaker is going to drop down, and that's 3 players.
No, they can keep this going. They can keep this going. They got the numbers advantage. They don't have the specials as such.
They just need to pick it up and go right now. They just need to go. This might be it. They're going to be pushing it up. 31 points. Splashdown's going to keep him alive. He needs the paint. No, 29 points. 3 seconds left in the game. That's not going to be enough. They can't pop it in time, and that's going to be a victory for Ethereal. They did actually pop it, but they weren't able to grab it. Wow, that was like honestly the fastest Rainmaker pop I've ever seen. But no, Ethereal, they were looking pretty scary there. I think if there was another 10 seconds on the clock, Quantum would have taken that from them, but no, it was the timer that was their best friend, and Ethereal was able to take that game too, and is now 2-0 Ethereal over Quantum.
I gotta say the Toxic Mists are sort of the unsung heroes of this particular matchup here, because I'm pretty sure in both of those defenses, they're the reason why the Rainmaker didn't get any further than it did before. I want to actually point out that the way Quantum played that, they didn't actually pick the Rainmaker up straight away. And you could actually see that when, I think it was, I think it was Gray, the NZAP, jumped in, he actually pre-fired the Rainmaker, but nobody had picked it up, so he just got cleaned up. And that was actually, like, it might seem kind of strange to not just grab the Rainmaker and go, but by waiting a little bit on the Rainmaker, it meant that it baited out Gray's attempt at stopping the Rainmaker.
Right.
And that was the only reason they even had a chance of continuing the push to begin with. So
the thing about Splatoon, when you're pushed onto the enemy's platform like that and they're on the respawn, every second matters.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it might have even been better for Gray to like get a kill on the Rainmaker right as someone picked it up, because then they might have been able to get a second pop or something. But anyway, that game's on the books. We've got, I believe it's 1-1 now.
2-0.
Sorry, 2-0. 2-0. Sorry. Had it in my head that it was 1-1 because Quantum was winning for a while. Anyway, we're moving on to the classic Snapper Canal with Splat Zones.
A classic map that's been out for a month.
Yeah, the classic. I mean, we've played it a lot, but
yeah.
So it's not exactly do or die for Quantum, because this is winners bracket action. So even if Quantum does lose this or one of the following 2 matches, they will still be alive in the tournament. However, this map, Splat Zones on Snapper Canal, it sort of plays into, I think, the strengths of Ethereal. It's one of those maps where once you take mid, you sort of push up, take control, you get sort of flanks into the enemy team's spawn. The main thing that I want to see out of both of these teams is sort of a willingness to section off like parts of the map and sort of take control of each individual section, rather than just trying to beeline straight to the zone.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting match. I see like pretty much like the same, like a similar comp coming out. Actually, I think that it is the exact same comp coming up from Ethereal. They got the Brella, they got the Trias Slosher. Actually, they're just running. Did they swap out the NZAP for the Brella? I can't remember. Whatever. It's gonna be interesting because they've got the Brella, and the Brella on Snapper Canal Splat Zones is like so key. You really need to play around the Brella. It's such a huge map that when you can have the Brella just kind of running around doing whatever they want, because they have that shield, they can stay alive. Having that Brella just be able to just run around and do whatever they want, you need to be able to play on that. It's such a huge like team task to have a Brella on your team in this map. It's completely about how they play with the Brella if they want to take this.
Oh, that blaster. Really well played there from Korgo, actually, to get the trade in that situation. That was a very awkward fight for the Jet Scorcher. And it looks as though the splatter shot's going to go down as well, so that's almost a team wipe. It's basically all four going down, but there's a couple of respawns coming in already. So Quantum's actually got a decent setup here. I know I expressed my skepticism for Korgo's custom Jet Scorcher, but they seem to be doing pretty okay at the moment with it. The Rain Cloud's going to come in, and the Disruptors are also going to make it a little bit more challenging to hold onto the zone. But it seems as though, despite going a man down, Quantum has retained control for the time being.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. They've got the timer down, or the score down just about, you got 49 points now. Ethereal is going to take it back from them as Ross unfortunately falls into the water. That's going to be a free kill for Ethereal. They're a little bit happy right now about that one. They're going to be trying to hold this. They need map control though. As you can see, what's that burst bomb? How did that kill? Okay, so Ethereal right now, actually they lost the zone. Wow, right as I was saying that all they need to do is paint the map and they should be good. Quantum was able to get a very, very quick zone snatch from them.
Oh, that's
there's so many kills happening in this game right now. I can't keep track. This is ridiculous. The zone's going back and forth. That is now 4 down on the side of Ethereal. Quantum is looking strong right now, and they're doing what Ethereal couldn't do before. They're just going to paint the map and they're going to try and shark.
Yeah, credit where it's due. Korgo with the triple kill there on the with the Stingray, definitely proving me wrong about his play. That was an interesting little
I like
visual
that.
bug.
I don't even think it was a visual bug. I think he was just swimming on the side of the ridge there.
He popped out. I think he popped out a little bit too quick for it to actually be. Anyway, but it's another 3-down situation. So, and it looks like this blaster isn't long for this world either. So, Quantum again with another really solid hold against Ethereal. You can see like Ethereal's getting the picks every now and then, but the issue for them is they aren't able to like capitalize on them as they have been in the previous games.
Yeah, so Quantum, despite being down to 11 points, like they're having troubles holding. I'm not sure if it's they're having trouble holding more so than Ethereal's just really good at being able to push in and take back control. With Quantum's team comp right now, they've got the Jet Squall Shade, they've got the NZAP, and they got the Splashdowns. Like, they can use the Stingray, they can use the armor, and like the Splashdowns are going to keep them alive. But if they don't get those, actually, it's only one Splashdown, and it's an 8-jet. So if they don't get those specials off, Ethereal's just going to completely rampage through them. And exactly, this is what I mean. Like, Toggle's over here with the Stingray. He's got the Stingray up. He's going to find those picks, and it's going to give his team an opportunity to push back in. But at the same time, they just dropped 2 players. So it's going to be difficult for them because they need to not only use their specials properly, but they also got to stay alive long enough for it to matter.
Yeah, oh, that's not where you want to be, Korgo. That's a Rain Cloud. Yeah, he dies to it. Okay, so again, like, I think that's the second time now where Korgo's got a double kill with the Stingray because Ethereal sort of tripped over each other and then their death explosions have, like, stuck the other person in the Stingray beam. So, off the back of that last fight, though, with pretty much just a standard, like, nade spam into mid, Quantum has retaken control, and it looks as though this switch up to the Brella doesn't seem to be paying off for them, for Ethereal. As much as the Brella is a very effective weapon, the issue is that Quantum is keeping themselves, like, you see, like, this is the way you deal with the Brella. Like, when the Brella's starting to shoot you, you get away from it. Like, you don't try to fight it with a sputter shot. It's like, that's just, you're never going to win that fight.
That is how you fight a Brella. If you're like, especially like if you're a shooter or a blaster or even like a roller, if you're fighting a Brella and it's a 1v1, you don't want to fight that. You just want to leave. The Brella's going to win every time. You want to leave and then re-engage with the teammates so you can 2v1 them. The thing that I said earlier in the tournament about the Brella is that 1v1 it's going to win pretty much every time, you know, with the exception of some weapons, but as soon as you 2v1, they're at like a huge disadvantage because as soon as they try and put that shield up, they're just going to get taken out from behind.
Yeah, and you can actually see the custom Jet Scorcher.
Whoa, 2 points left, and they were able to recap it.
Hello.
Wow, this is going to be overtime. Overtime push. They got quite a ways to go. 60 points to get through if they want to take this game. And it's going to be basically a knockout for them if they want to grab it. And this is going to be huge. They got that Rain Cloud going up. Kago's going to be in some trouble here. The Rain Cloud might take out his armor. It is. And now Ethereal. Oh, I don't know if they can do it. They're not really in position. They need to be focused.
Someone's got to watch the zone, though.
Yeah, they left the zone there. Okay, they're back. They're back on the zone. They need to be watching it. They need to not get picked off on the zone. And because of that, Quantum is able to just completely snatch the zone from under their feet. And Quantum, they're not done yet. They're not going home. It is now 2-1 for Ethereal in this set as we move on to game 4.
Yeah, and I gotta say that I was skeptical the first time you ran it, but this time Cargo coming in big with that custom Jet Scorcher. A lot of those kills were Stingrays, but you could really see, especially toward the end there, that sort of last push just before the clutch retake from Ethereal, you could see that Corgo, first of all, he took out the Brella when, like, the Spider Shot and the Brella clashed. Spider Shot got out, and the CJS came in with the cleanup and killed the Brella. Then the CJS moved into mid and started getting a crossfire going while his team was pushing across the ramp. So, like, that's how you play a CJS, and that's what makes it so effective against things like the Brella and whatnot, is when you're, like, because it has so much range, it's really easy to get itself into situations where it can get shots on people from angles that they might not be expecting, for example. Or if they are expecting it, they can't do much about it. Like, and that's the way you deal with things like Brellas, that's the way you deal with, like, blasters and whatnot. And that worked perfectly for Quantum. We'll have to see whether or not, like, this next map on Tower Control Manta Maria, it's another map where it can work. Like, the same strat can definitely work, because what you're trying to do is, like, as much as you have to push, like, through the street area, the elbow, with the tower, the custom jet can easily, say, take the left-hand side of the map and sort of shoot down the street, or they can take the other side with a Stingray or something. There's a lot of options available. At the same time, the classic sort of aggro strat can also work in much the same, can also work just as well. So Quantum's got a lot of options here. Ethereal doesn't seem to be switching up their.
He's gone. Goodbye, FLC. Okay, I'll just take over for a sec here while FLC deals with whatever just happened. It's interesting. Manta Maria is really weird because the mode completely dictates kind of like what team comp you want to go with. This is tower control, so you're going to see a lot of Stingrays, hopefully. Yeah, Kago actually going with the Clash Blaster to pull out that second Stingray along with their heavy spy lane. Stingrays are going to be huge here. It's very similar to like Port Macro in the sense that Stingrays on tower control are just massive game-changing. And so Kago with this Clash Blaster, it's just a pressure weapon. You want to throw a lot of splat bombs. You want to use a lot of Stingrays. It's really interesting. You can't play aggressive and just kind of like push people down with it. Kago needs to find the positioning. I'm sure he knows how to play the weapon. He needs to find the positioning. And on Manta Maria, you don't necessarily have that position.
Hello?
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 Hello? Are you alive?
I certainly hope so. So, okay, yeah, I don't know what happened there. It seemed as though just my upload cut out because everything else was working fine. Anyway, so we've got the Clash Blaster of all things. Yeah, okay, we're here. Yeah, so video games are happening. I'm probably going to take me a moment to sort of catch up on what's going on here.
So this has been like a really weird game so far. It's basically just like all neutral fights. Neither team has gotten like a huge push going. Kago actually, interestingly enough, activated the Stingray and they just kind of like didn't really use it. So that was probably pretty huge. The Flash Blast is going to do its thing here up on the bunker, but not going to find many kills of it as his team is actually making a pretty huge push. There's a flank coming from behind, but Kago was able to spot it out. It is the Blaster. Kago needs to deal with that, but no, it looks like his team was completely stopped on this push. And now it looks like Ethereal has a response. It's a 45-point push, which isn't the biggest, but Ethereal needs to. No, they're having some troubles getting that map control. They're having some troubles pushing back into mid.
Yeah, and this is sort of what I was getting at before, is that Quantum, I think this map plays a lot to Quantum's playstyle, where like it's kind of harder to get like a really solid opening on this map because like you've always got to like go up a wall, for example, to make anything happen. So it means that Quantum's main weakness is sort of attenuated a bit. Whereas they have the kind of team comps and sort of strats, like with their Ross playing the long range and all that sort of stuff, to have a really solid set of options for this map. And as we can see, the Clash Blast is actually working out really well for them. Between the Stingray and the Splat Bomb, like that's one of the things about the Clash Blast that I don't think a lot of people quite realize is. Sure, the Clash Blaster itself might not be quite as effective as a normal, like, custom blaster or something like that, but the kit is actually really, really good, and it's something that is kind of unique among all the blasters. So that's where its sort of use case comes in, and you can see Kogo is making really good use of it here.
Oh, actually, that's 3 players down now, so Ethereal doing a really, really good job stopping that push. They still got quite a ways to go, just over half the tower track if they want to get back into this game down to 44 points. Unfortunately, as they got that wipe, the tower was like on their side of the map, so it's going to be pretty much a reset. They've got a lot of work to do to get this tower back, and wow, they're actually going to go fully down now. So okay, Quantum looking very, very strong. They don't want to go to the losers bracket right now. They're trying to stay up here. They want to tie up the set and take it to a game 5.
Yeah, Quantum's giving the double Stingray coming out. The Quantum's giving Ethereal a taste of their own medicine right now. They're the ones who are contrary to game 1, where it was Ethereal who was like setting up in mid and basically making Quantum play from their own base every time. This time it's Quantum who's taking control of mid, and then every time Ethereal gets anything going, it's just to get into mid, and then Quantum comes straight back with a triple kill to halt anything that Ethereal is trying to do. And again, we might even see that just now. We've got Ethereal is coming back. They have the numbers advantage, but again, they have to get through Korgo, and they don't seem to have an answer for him right now.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I never expected the Clash Blaster to be sort of like the anchor for their team right now. It's really weird because the Clash Blaster, it's for the most part been a not too highly used weapon. It's been one of the worst weapons in the game, but recently it's gotten a lot of buffs and people are actually starting to realize it's good now. On top of that, like, they still really aren't playing it. Like, people know that it's a pretty good weapon now. They just aren't really playing it. But I think now, for this, like, in this situation, Manta Maria, like, blasters are good here. You got the Splat Bombs as well as the Stingray. I think this is a good situation to use it, and Quantum is going to be stepping up to that. And that being said, Ethereal just went 4 players down. They're having a lot of troubles pushing back into the middle of the map and taking that map control. It doesn't really seem to be a team comp issue. I think just Quantum is doing such a good job just slaying them at every opportunity they get. And because of that, it looks like they're going to be doing what they can to take this to a game 5.
Yep, the Stingray is going to come in and secure the tower for the victory, and yeah, this has been a really, really good pivot from Quantum right now. They've been, like, they were on the back foot for the first 2 games, but now they've leveled it up 2-2. And I want to talk about the Clash Blast a little bit, because you mentioned that, it's been one of the sort of lower tier weapons for a long time. The issue with the Clash Blaster actually was just the Stingray, because it had the Stingray, and the Stingray was terrible, so why would you ever use it? Because you may as well just use a custom blaster or something. But the thing with the Clash Blaster is it's kind of like the Octobrush, in the sense that once you've caught someone, it's very, very hard to escape, because like you've got the 4 shots, and if you're a good Clash Blaster, you'll be getting like 2 or 3 shots most of the time. You'll get a direct in one of your shots. And that sort of Octobrush-esque kind of trapping is something that only the Lunar Blaster is really capable of, aside from that, because like the range blaster, there's a second between each shot, so it's like even if you get the first shot, chances are the guy's just going to run away. Even the custom blaster has that same kind of problem. Whereas the Lunar and the Clash Blaster, you can very easily get the sort of 2 shots out before the enemy player can react. The problem with the Lunar Blaster, of course, is that it's basically got no range whatsoever, whereas the Clash Blaster, I think, has the same range as a custom blaster, so it's sort of at the kind of splatter shot range. Which then means, on top of having the Stingray and also the sort of faster mobility, because it's like a fast-firing blaster, means that you can actually, there is something that sets it apart, and it's one of those weapons that I think a lot of people might shy away from, just because like you need to. It's kind of like the old CRB, where you need to be able to hit directs in order to use it properly, but like it's still quite effective. But anyway. All that rambling out of the way, we're moving on to Rainmaker on Starfish main stage. for our game 5. This is it looked like it was going to be a complete stomp, but Quantum's rallied. They've got it back up to 2-2, and this is going to be the game that decides who's going to the grand finals.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be a very interesting game. Rainmaker on Starfish main stage is one of the weirder modes for this game, just because it actually utilizes pretty much all of the map, whereas Tower Control and Splat Zones, you don't really leave the middle for the most part. With Rainmaker, you need to be making those pushes up the left and the right side, possibly, or you can go right down the middle. It's really interesting that the team comps, Ethereal kind of going with pretty much what they've been running for the most part. You know, there's a couple changes here and there, and I think they're comfortable with it, and I think it might be what's going to win them this game because they've got that armor, they've got the pressure from the blaster, the double armor, my mistake, the double armor, as well as the Tri-Slosher is very good here because of how well it deals with the high to low range.
Yeah, you can see Corgo, again with the Lunar Blaster this time, making full use of his ability to basically just keep the entire enemy team occupied. We've got, it looks as though Splash Shot Duel is a little bit awkward, but does go in the way of Zero over here. So Quantum does have an advantage. There's an armor coming in from Ethereal, but doesn't look like any team's really able to secure much of an advantage. It seems as though every kill in one direction is met with a kill in the other, so...
Well, those two players jumping in, though, that could have been huge. If that splashdown was a little bit quicker to come out, that could have been 2 players down and a very, very strong push for Ethereal, but unfortunately not so. It's still kind of a neutral game here. Both teams are kind of looking for the opportunity to grab the Rainmaker and push, but it's exactly as you said, every kill is met with a trade for the most part.
Well, that having been said, it looks as though Watson does stop the push short, but there is a very strong advantage now here for Quantum. On top of the numbers advantage, they've also got 2 specials available. So let's see, they're going to be going onto the left-hand side here. It's not exactly the best situation right there. There was nobody ahead of him, so it meant that it was a really easy stop for Frog over here on the splatter shot. But nonetheless, it's still a push to 48. Now that's not a very strong push. As you can see, it's only on the top of the left-hand side. But on top of that, if you go straight through mid or even down the right-hand ramp, it's very easy to get to that scoreline. So this is by no means over yet.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like 48 points here isn't really the biggest. It's not going to be too difficult, I think, for Ethereal to beat that. But Quantum has put themselves in a really good position here. Again, there's 2 down. They have the weapons to be able to keep pushes going. And like I mentioned before, they play really well with momentum. As soon as they get that one push going, and they have the opportunity to keep it going, like exactly right now, they're just going to keep this going. There might be only 2 players alive. Actually, no, it's going to be Ben with the blaster able to completely stop that push. I believe he got 2, maybe 3 kills there, so really, really good work from him. And like the thing that Ethereal needs to do if they want to win this game is they need to take back map control. Like Quantum right now, they completely thrive on map control, and if Ethereal is able to take that away from them, it's going to be more or less an easy game for them if they want to take this back, especially with only like a 47-point requirement.
Yeah, no, you could see both of these teams were doing sort of what they need to do. With that previous push, Quantum did have people ahead of the Rainmaker on the left-hand side, and that case just there, Ethereal was going for map control. Problem is that this is a competitive game, which means there is another team who is going to stop you from doing the things that you need to do to win, which in both of these cases here is exactly what happened. Now it's a 2v2 situation, about even with 1 special on each side. However, it's, well, I say however, but it's going even again. So Quantum does have an opportunity to push here with a temporary wipe there, but it seems as though that was, okay, on the spectator cam, that was a direct.
Yeah,
didn't give credit
cam
to that,
was interesting though. Wow, what a pick on the Ben. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Oh, and there's a Tri-Slosher there, unfortunately, so this push is probably going to stop short right about now. I don't think there's much chance that Fake GP is going to be able to pop the Rainmaker, especially with no ink.
Yeah, I think the best thing they could have done there if they had ink was just pop the Rainmaker and run it to get as many points on the board as they could. But no, they decided to just back up and reset the team fight. It's going to go back to the neutral game. Although Ethereal has the Rainmaker right now, they're looking to make this push. It's going to be completely up to how this team fight goes. Okay, the Rainmaker does die, so it's going to be a 3v3 in the middle of the map, and some splashdowns going down. The armor's going to save 2 members of Ethereal there as they need to pop this Rainmaker. Okay, they got to pick on Kago, so now it's okay. Yeah, again, it's very neutral. It's really difficult for a team to be able to find like this huge advantage. It seems like every kill is a trade for the most part, and it's really interesting to see how Ethereal is trying to deal with that right now.
Yeah, and it seemed as though there was a bit of a push going, but unfortunately when you leave the Tri-Slosher to pop the Rainmaker, it's going to take about a year and a half before anything moves, and that was the undoing of that push right there. And now Quantum, they've got their setup going, they've got people ahead of the
this is
Rainmaker.
huge, that might be the knockout, they're going for it!
This is going to be it!
Actually stop that
not
huge play from Watson to prevent the knockout there. That being said, though, they don't have a lot of time left. There's 7 seconds left in the match. They need to get essentially a knockout if they want to stay in the winner's bracket.
Yeah, this is quite a showing from Ethereal right here. You could sort of see that both teams know their win conditions. But the problem is that Quantum is just a little bit better at preventing Ethereal from getting the foothold that they need. Now, with the armor moving in, it seems as though there might be a chance for this Rainmaker. Unfortunate for Frog there. I don't think there was much chance for him, but still, very valiant effort there. But that's the reverse 3-0. Reverse sweep from Quantum. Rallying back after
fantastic
that.
job just dealing with the pressure. They were able to actually hold their ground and come back from the 2-0 deficit. And because of that, they're going to be staying in the winner's final here. Or sorry, they're going to be moving on to grand finals versus... actually, we don't know who's going to be there yet because we are going to be moving on to the losers semifinals. We're going to be watching Saikai versus Team Olive. The winner of that set's going to move on to face Ethereal now, who is then going to go on to the grand finals. So... interesting bracket. We got a lot of good teams left. This Saikai versus Team Olive match is definitely going to be a highlight. You don't want to miss this one, so make sure you stick around with that. With Ethereal and Quantum, though, it was pretty much exactly as we said it in the beginning of the match, or in the beginning of the set. It was Quantum needed to find that momentum. If they had the momentum going, they were just gonna take it and run with it. And Ethereal needed to stop that, but it looks like they weren't quite able to do that as much as they wanted to. And because of that, Quantum took it 3-2.
Yeah, and that, like, the first 2 games of that set were not close. Ethereal, even toward, like, even the 3rd game was sort of back and forth, but then things really kind of accelerated after that. And again, Quantum, again with the slow starts, but they stabilize. That's the key. Even though the slow starts are their weakness, their ability to always find a way to get themselves back together and back into the game and put up a good fight, regardless of how the set started, that is their strength. And regardless of who meets them in the grand finals after these next couple of games, that's going to be what makes Quantum so difficult to deal with.
Absolutely. And